The Innovation Panel, or IP, develops and tests leading-edge survey methods for longitudinal survey research and informs the main Understanding Society UK HLS parent survey. Participants are asked the same set of core questions and use the same procedures as the main survey. Additional questions are included for testing. The initial sample of around 1,500 households was drawn in 2008. Refresher boost samples were added in later waves. The main survey IP sample members are interviewed every year. Data in Wave 12 contains experiments on health. There are two primary versions of the Innovation Panel data. One is available under the Standard End User License Agreement for researchers to download from the UK Data Service under study number 6849, and the other is a special license version available under study number 7083. The main UK HLS survey data is available under study number 6614. Biomedical health assessment measures were collected by nurses in Wave 2 and 3 of the main UK HLS survey. IP experiments in Wave 12 focus on health and include the collection of biomarkers and medical measures by 3 different modes. Biomarkers were collected by interviewers and nurses in face-to-face interviews and by respondents themselves in online self-completion interviews. The goal of IP12 was to compare interviewer and participant data collection to a standard of nurse-collected biomarkers. Multiple files are released for each wave of the Innovation Panel. The user guide summarises the general content and level of data files and any variations. The questionnaire data, sample information and paradata files are released in each wave. The life history files exist only for some waves. The user guide summarises which units are contained in the file, which instrument the data are from, and points to key variables useful in linking data files for analysis. New files for IP12 include hair and experience. The primary mode of data collection is face-to-face interviews, using computer-assisted personal interviewing, CAPI. Some waves have used telephone interviewing, CATI. Further waves of the IP included refreshment samples at waves 4, 7, 10 and 11. This table shows you the method of collection, household boost sample and response rates by household and individuals within them. The IP12 sample totals 1,408 households and 2,162 interviewees, with an individual response rate of 78.7%. Due to the change in design and focus at IP12, all sample households were reallocated one of the 3 interview designs. The new allocation assigned households in equal proportion to the 3 modes: Group 1 self-completed online, Group 2 face-to-face with an interviewer, and Group 3 face-to-face with a nurse who collected extra biomarkers. Any household which did not respond online was then reassigned to an interviewer, not a nurse. Subsequent mop-up interviews for non-respondents allowed all samples to respond via the web or telephone regardless of their allocated mode. Analysts should note the experiment was designed without the use of telephone mop-up interviews, therefore the small amount of interviews collected by telephone should be analysed along with web respondents, as the documentation and method of remote delivery used were the same. In the interview, both nurses and interviewers asked respondents consent to take blood pressure readings. Blood pressure cuffs were provided to nurses and interviewers. They also asked respondents to consent to take an actual height and weight measures using a sternometer and scale. Nurse-led interviews included an additional collection of full blood, dry blood spots and a hair sample. Interviewer-led and web respondents were given or offered a kit containing materials to enable dry blood spots and hair samples to be taken independently and returned at a later time. For the full list of analytes, see the main user guide. Analysts should note hair was collected from both children and adults. Youth data is contained in the youth file and adult data in the INDRESS file. To analyse the complete set of data in the hair file, users will need to link both the INDRESS and youth files using the variable PIDP. The initial unconditional incentives sent to participants were identical to those sent at IP11, regardless of mode allocation at IP12. Participants received conditional incentives for completing several health-based measures. They received £5 on completion of each biomarker outside the interview. There was no experimental aspect to this conditional incentives. All respondents received an incentive for completion of each task. The experience data file includes one-off questions about respondents' experience of the interview, such as questions about the kit supplied, whether a respondent would provide blood samples, the experience of being in IP12, and so on. 4 experiments were conducted in IP12. The goal for the nurse and mixed mode allocation experiment was to compare standard design, CAPI and mixed modes to a standard of nurse-collected biomarkers. All participants were asked to collect a blood pressure measurement prior to completion of visit or web data collection, incorporating an experiment to examine pro-social versus informational content on response and quality of measurement. The information versus pro-social appeal experiment included sending a different advance letter to the 3 samples. 1/3 were provided information on their nearest pharmacy to enable blood pressure measurement, 1/3 an altruistic pro-social appeal text to encourage participants to get their blood pressure measured. The remaining sample, the control group, did not receive any of these treatments. Allocations to treatment were at household level, so everyone in the household was treated the same. Mobile phone numbers are collected at the end of interview at each wave. Given the potential importance of contacting respondents on their mobile phone in upcoming waves, this experiment explored alternative designs to better ensure mobile numbers are collected. In the control group, participants were asked the questions as per previous waves. The alternative condition asked respondents specifically about mobile phone numbers, after which they were asked for all their remaining contact details normally asked, similar to the normal design. Allocations were at household level, so everyone in the household was treated the same. Households were allocated randomly and equally to conditions 50% each. The controlling variable used in this is in the data file HHSAMP. Height and weight were measured to calculate body mass index, a measure of adiposity. The aim of this experiment was to determine if the interview mode, open versus self-completion, reports affects the accuracy of individuals' responses. Households in face-to-face modes, nurse and interviewer modes only, were randomly assigned to one of 2 groups, self-completion mode and interviewer-administered group. Nurse and interviewers assessed height and weight using the protocols previously established in Wave 2 Nurse Protocol document. Allocation was at the household level again. Households were allocated randomly and equally to conditions 50% each. To help users, the following acronyms explain the biomarkers and terminology used for the collection mode. Further information is contained in the user guide and overview document for IP12. Visit our website for information about the survey and contact the user support forum with any questions. Links are provided below this video. Thank you for watching.